Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about creating Dragonriders in Forgotten Realms. This content is going to contain major spoilers for all of House of the Dragon. All right, let's go. So I don't know if you know this, but Dungeons and Dragons has changed forever. House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 10, shows Aemond murders Lucerys. His dragon Vagar chomps Arax in half. Lucerys dies, and Aemon has launched the largest war in all of Westeros. All of Westeros history, right? Huge. And here's the thing: this is done in a storm-swept sky, and any fantasy fan who sees this. We are in a new period in American entertainment. Nothing I've ever seen on the small screen is better than what I just watched. Period. End of sentence. Right? This matches anything you'll see in a Marvel movie. It matches anything you will see in Star Wars. That one scene alone puts House of the Dragon. That one scene puts every dungeon master on notice. You can no longer keep your player characters off dragons. Any bog standard American's going to walk into your game and they're going to be like, "Where's my dragon?" And you can be like, "Oh, Dungeon Dragon sucks. You don't get one. Here's a sword." Right? And they'll be like, "Thanks, next. I'm going to go back and watch that again." Right? So House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 10, changes American Dungeons and Dragons forever. Right? And we're going to have to deliver on the dragon part of Dungeons and Dragons. So how do we get there? Because we have our own traditions, we have our own history, and player characters just jumping on the backs of dragons doesn't work in Dungeons and Dragons for a lot of reasons. Let me list them real quick. Reason 1, House of the dragons are just magical animals. Dungeons and dragons are magical sentients. They can talk, they can take the form of a human, they can cast spells. Okay. Second, Dungeons and Dragons player characters are heroes. There's exceptions, but generally they're heroes, right? So we can't use this horrible, the horrible training that the Targaryens use to master dragons. It's completely unavailable to American player characters in Dungeons and Dragons. It can't be used, right? So we can't take the same path that House of the Dragon takes, because House of the Dragon, in Dungeons and Dragons, you have heroes. Every player character, with very few exceptions, is a hero. Okay. House of the Dragon is flipped. There's arguably not a single hero in House of the Dragon, so it makes it very. Here's the last one. You got heroes in Dungeons and Dragons, but the dragons typically, what a frustrating word, are evil. Right? The chromatic dragons are all evil. Right? And the chromatic dragons are what people know, right? They're like, "Oh, hey, I know Dungeons and Dragons got a red, white, and blue, black, and green. Give them to me. I'm ready to ride," right? And you're like, "Well, they're super evil, and you're a hero. Why on earth would this thing let you ride them," right? And so we have to answer this question. We are forced to answer this question. So I'm going to answer it, all right? So first of all, we need to get this done quickly, because people are going to be showing up at the table soon, and they're going to want to ride dragons. It's a very legitimate, request. And I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I love the Dungeons and Dragons design team, but they were caught fully flat-footed on this, right? They literally have a Dragonlance book coming out called Dragon Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and there ain't going to be no PC dragon riding in it. This was, the world turns, it spins, things change, and legit, the design team just fully flubbed on this. The D&D design team was fully caught on its hind foot, on its back foot, right? That's bad. It's really bad, right? So how do we fix this? All right, so here's the fix. You have your player characters in Forgotten Realms. They're bog standard D&D adventurers, right? They're heroes. How do they get an evil dragon to swoop out of the sky with a saddle on it, right? Or, swoop out of the sky, and how does that person get a saddle on it and then just fly off and tell the dragon what to do? How on earth do you get there, right? So one, we can't use this cruel animal training regimen that that is in House of Dragons. It's just not accessible to. It's not going to fit in a regular Dungeons and Dragons game. Okay, all right. So at that point, you're like, well, okay, so essentially your player characters need a service. They need a dragon at their behest. Do whatever they want to do. Like they jump on the back, burn down a city, like burn down half of Neverwinter Forest, swoop down and grab a battle wagon and throw it 100 feet, and everybody in the battle wagon dies. Whatever they need, right? So this is what they're going to do with this dragon, right? Why would a dragon allow a player character on them? Well, it's going to have to be an exchange. Dragons want stuff, right? Dragons sleep on, and we know what they want. We know what dragons want. They all sleep on treasure. They sleep on treasure. That's the way it is. Like they sleep on massive beds of gold encrusted with jewels and magical weapons. They like laying their scaly butts down on huge amounts of gold, diamonds, and magical items. The magic gives them a little bit of a tingle. The gold feels great against their scaly skin, and the gems are just for like dragons like shiny, right? We know what they want. So the way this is going to have to get done is there is a natural click, click, click. And here it goes. You got adventurers. They go on quests. They get magical items all the time, right? They get the magical item. $100,000, actually, I think the highest end stuff artifacts are even more. The highest, I think, very rare items are 50,000 gold, right? And then artifacts aren't even bought, right? But you could take an artifact and say, I want enough gold that fills a dragon lair, and I'm going to double the amount of gold that this dragon sleeps on, right? So your player character gets an artifact, switches it with trades it to a merchant for literally, I want 20 square, I want 30, 40, actually, I guess, it's bigger than that. I want 50 square feet of gold, 2 feet thick, right? Only way they're going to do that is trade an artifact, right? So each one of these player characters is going to need to get an artifact to trade to the dragon, and then based on how powerful what they get is, they might do a very, they might get a very rare magic item, and that would be okay. And and the red dragon's like, okay, you got my services for a day, right? You might get a super unique artifact that's good for 1 moon. For 30 days, I will carry you wherever you wish. You can saddle me, and I'm going to burn what you tell me to burn. Dracarys, baby, let's do it, right? And then also, and basically, or you can say, all 3 different artifacts. That's a season, right? Or or basically you could even get to the point where it's 7 different artifacts and it's a whole year, right? Now once you have this in place and you're saying, hey, dragons will trade their services for whatever they need in their lair, that fits. It's not cruel. It's fair, right? It fits with what adventurers already do, right? And once that's logically there, you can have your player characters go through the adventures to get the artifacts, or you could just start the game where, oh, hey, last 6 months you got an artifact. Now you got this dragon's services for 1 month, right? And what's even more challenging is we actually might start the game there saying, hey, you are an adventurer. And that's the other issue, is like, there's no way you put anything but a 10th level adventurer on the back of a dragon. You can't. And so you can start the game saying, all 5 of you adventured together from levels 1 through 8, and then levels 9 and 10, you all split apart, all got a different artifact, all gave it to a different dragon, and now you got 1 month where player 1 has red, player 2 has blue, player 3 has black, player 4 has white, player 5 has green. And you got 1 month of game time where they are actually doing the same thing Aemon and Lucerys was doing. Done. Right? Fits with Forgotten Realms, and actually is a natural fit, and then we can give the same action that is being seen in House of the Dragon to our players. That's the best way to do it, in my humble opinion. And it will take, and so essentially you'll have to start campaigns at 10th level. And you're like, well, Scott, why wouldn't you just take them through all the, one, I can tell you right now, you do not want to just start the campaign at the point where they're riding the dragons and explain to them how they got there, and also that they got 30 days, to get this done. And then if they want to, like, hey, we love that, we want to do it again, then you're just like, your player characters go out and get more magical items. We're starting again. A year jumps forward, and we're starting again with you having them for a whole season. And your games are the time where they're on the dragons, and the time where they're getting the artifacts are interstitial. And you're like, well, Scott, why don't you just run it like, where they're actually getting the artifacts? Here's why. In case you don't know, things change in this world, right? So, and you do not want to be that dungeon master who's like, you're going to play in my game for 18 months and then you're going to ride a dragon, right? And then they, win the lottery, die, or get married, and now they can't play in this game, and you're that DM who drugged them through 14 months of prep, and then they never got to the good part, right? Don't do that, right? So that's how you get this done. That's how we bring House of the Dragon action in Forgotten Realms. That's my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.